here. Apologies for that. Some show notes. Simon will be joining us again weekly next month. And so we'll be doing deep dives on geopolitics there with Simon. And he'll be bringing his knowledge. He's assured me that he's only following the news 13 hours a day instead of 18 hours a day. So he's scaled back his routine, monitoring all foreign news outlets. So Simon's vast array of knowledge is going to be coming back to the Weaponized News audience. We're still sorting out all the details, but hopefully we can start bringing you at least one day a week shows with Simon next month for the deep dives like no one else on the interwebs here at Weaponized News. What else in the news today? We'll get to all this reporting out of the White House. Oh, they're prepping us for war. You may want to know this. The propaganda is naked for those that have eyes to see, but I know the majority of the public doesn't want to see these things, but they are prepping us with a whole lot of war propaganda. I don't know, what was the big clue? They renamed the Department of Defense the Department of War. That could have been a big clue, you know what I mean? And they're rolling it out all over the place, war propaganda, as tomorrow is Veterans Day. So we'll cover that. The economy's great, don't you know? Trump floats $2,000 tariff dividend. We'll go over that. More fallout from the shutdown. And then, Trump issued a bunch of pardons today to his merry band of election deniers, dare I say. We have that to cover. The economy. Everything's great, Trump tells us. New data from State of Local Commerce report. We'll go over some of that. And public health news. We'll circle back to the GLP-1s, and then a new announcement today from HHS is they're going to HHS, well, the government, right? Bobby Kennedy Jr. announces that the FDA is initiating the removal of broad black box warnings from hormone replacement therapy products for menopause for women's. Cover that. A little geopolitical news, and then quite a bit out of Aardvark land genocide, as Bibi's called out by an MP from his own Knesset, as knowing damn well what all transpired there on October 7th. But there's a ceasefire going on, don't you know? Well, they're still whacking people, stacking bodies in Gaza, as the attacks on southern Lebanon have increased. So we'll cover all that and much more on this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Thank you, everybody, for coming online. Again, apologies to YouTube. Got that on late. I forgot it was turned off. Okay, let's get to this day in history and try to cover all of this news for you on this day in history of November 10th. Going back to the year 1885, German engineer Gottlieb Daimler unveils the world's first motorcycle, 1885 on this day. 1908 on this day, the first Gideon Bible put in a hotel room on this day. In 1911, On this day, Andrew Carnegie forms Carnegie Corporation for scholarly and charitable works to offset all of his robber baron chicanery, allegedly. Does it really offset it? I don't know. All these kabillionaires that effed everybody over on the way to the top seem to think that their philanthropy projects can somehow offset all of their skullduggery it took to become gazillionaires, whatever they have there in their monopoly capitalist system. In 1917, on this day, the Bolshevik government under Vladimir Lenin suspends free speech, quote, temporarily during the October Revolution. In 1919, on this day, we saw the first observance of National Book Week. Big conspiracy, reading and books themselves, any knowledge that is not afforded to us by the state and proper authorities is a conspiracy, as we've learned over the last 5-6 years here now. If it's not fact checked by the authority, it's a fake news conspiracy theory. All sides agree on this. No one can seem to agree what the actual facts of the matter are, but that's a conspiracy now, isn't it? And in 1940, on this day, Mickey Mouse, turns out he was a rat. Walt Disney, the spy. In 1940, on this day, Walt Disney serves as an informant for the Los Angeles office of the FBI, reporting information on Hollywood subversives. So it turns out Mickey Mouse was a rat this entire time. You just weren't informed about it. In 1954, on this day, the Marine Corps War Memorial unveiled in Arlington County, Virginia, dedicated to the U.S. Marine Corps who died in defense of the U.S., I'd say in defense of the, corporate oligarchy, in defense of the corporate oligarchy of the United States since 1775, inspired by the 1945 Iwo Jima photo of servicemen raising the U.S. flag. And this iconic photo, I think we shall show that. Everybody knows this photo, right? And so we do honor the Marines serving the corporate government on this day. Very sad. Many Marines will wake up and turn against the system, but for many of them, by the time they wake up, the damage has already been done. Very sad story we continue to go over here. The abuse of U.S. servicemen is quite horrific indeed. Moving forward, on this day, 1969, Sesame Street, the children's educational television series Sesame Street, premieres on PBS on this day, 1969. Brought to us by puppeteer and filmmaker John Hanson. In 1989, on this day, we saw fall of the Berlin Wall. German crowds begin demolishing the Berlin Wall, quickly followed by officials with bulldozers. On this day, 1989. Well, really in between, depends on your time zone, right? November 9th, November 10th, depending on your time zone. Anyhow, the fall of the Berlin Wall is celebrated on this day. In 2014, Hunger Games, The Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1, premiered in theaters in London. And aren't we in some type of form of Hunger Games? The, Venn diagram of all our favorite dystopic novels intersecting here. Hunger Games would be part of that as well. 1984, Brave New World, Hunger Games, go down the list. I'm sure if you've been on the interwebs, you know the diagram I'm speaking of. And then, of course, in 2020, on this day, and isn't so cute and funny, word of the year, quote, lockdown, according to Collins English Dictionary. And isn't it also cute, funny, and keep backing these same maniacs that did the lockdown? That is your government, not some bat cartoon on the television. And with that, we move into this day in our civil liberties history. On this day of November 10th, going back to 1973, North Dakota school burns Kurt Vonnegut's Slaughterhouse 5 on orders from the school board. It was revealed on this day the schools in Drake, North Carolina, burned 36 copies of Kurt Vonnegut's acclaimed novel Slaughterhouse 5. The burning was investigated, or was initiated, by a female student who complained that the novel was profane. Other books scheduled to be burned include novels by the great American novelist Ernest Hemingway, William Faulkner, and John Steinbeck. Well, of course, Steinbeck. I mean, come on. I'm offended. Yeah, right? Slaughterhouse 5 is the moving story based on the famous Allied firebombing of Dresden, Germany during World War II. Yeah. I'm offended that our government bombed a bunch of German civilians. Yeah, what the hell? Burn the book. Further explaining such an atrocity. Perhaps the most astonishing aspect of the burning is that, with the example of book burning by Nazi Germany, anyone in the United States would consider burning any book. But we love hypocrisy here in America. It's pretty much what we're based on. And so, yeah, we wouldn't have it any other way, and celebrate the North Dakota book burnings of November 10th, 1973, obviously, right? We did not see this coming. And then idiot America, of course. I remember at the time when this happened, and I was like, yeah, let's go beat up a guy wearing a freaking, turban on his head. On this day of November 10th, going back to the year 2001, Sikhs allege harassment following 9/11 attacks. American sheiks on this day charged that they had been the victims of discrimination and harassment since the terrorist attacks in the U.S. on September 11, 2001. I remember in my area, there was reports of men with turbans being beaten senseless. Well, there you go. These damn Sikhs are part of Al Qaeda, and they attacked us on 9/11. Turns out their religion's nothing to do with Muslim extremists engineered by Western intelligence to be radicalized, to be called said boogeyman terrorist. Sikhs are a whole different deal. Redneck Americans don't care. Mess around with America, you get your ass kicked. And so, following the September 11th attacks, about 24 Sikh men had filed formal complaints that they were required to remove their turbans in public places, an act that violated the religious principle of not exposing their hair in public. Who cares? You know what I mean? Who cares if they're not even Muslim? It's America, damn it. First Amendment, freedom of religion, who cares? We got a war on terror to win. As Al Qaeda visits the White House today. And with that, let's go to our segue to the news. And this is the propaganda priming the pump for another major war. Is it going to be Venezuela? What the hell? Invade all of South America, Mexico? What the hell? You know what I mean? America. They're damn narco trafficking terrorists, according to the CIA that set up the organization. Oh, they left that part out. So yeah, whether it's there, or we're going to go fight for Christians in Africa, right? Nigeria is slaughtering Christians, and somehow it's our duty as the police of the world to believe the lies of the intelligence agencies. And whether it's true or not, it doesn't matter. It's our duty, right? to go over there and steal all of Nigeria. And what the hell, while we're at it, we might as well just invade all of Africa, steal all their resources, invade all of South America, steal all their resources. I don't see how it's logistically possible. It doesn't matter. This is America, you see? And so there's many different wars popping up, hot spots. As the president of peace told us, even though he bombed 6 sovereign countries, Ecuador's come to lick the boots, we've come to learn. Regardless of all that, America, 250 years of U.S. Marines. Smedley Butler told us way back when war's a racket, and we should probably listen to old Smedley Butler when he exposed the whole damn thing, like 100 years ago. But they still incessantly pump out the propaganda. Here's our segue to the news, preparing America for a major war in the very near future. Sorry about that. They put at the top of that video, that's right from the White House, visit America250.org. As we have in the past when they first launched it, well, here it is again to remind everybody. This is your corporate government that these Marines are fighting for, sadly. Here you go. Amazon. These are the sponsors right on their website, America250.org. They're sponsoring the 250th anniversary of America. And here's your corporate sponsors that these Marines are fighting and dying for in foreign lands. Right here, your corporate sponsors: Amazon, Coca-Cola, Chrysler, BNY, Coinbase, these accounting firms, Intuit, military industrial complex, and my personal favorite, Palantir, right here. I don't know. It's hard to choose between Lockheed Martin and Palantir, and Oracle too, by the way. Glad to see old Goldman Sachs is pitching in. It's just and don't forget your GMO Miracle Grow crops there, and the Gladiator Sport, UFC, Walmart, of course. And so this is your corporate government. They're not even hiding it. It's quite a sight to see, indeed. They're pumping this propaganda, wrapping themselves in the flag at all these major sporting events. Now, what the hell? No due process, no evidence whatsoever. But the Department of the War, Pete Hegseth, they whacked another one of these boats. They whacked another boat. Here's a video of it. He says, well, let me put it on the screen here. Oh, due process? Yeah, that's a joke. Yesterday, at the direction of President Trump, 2 lethal kinetic strikes were conducted on 2 vessels operated by designated terrorist organizations. These vessels were known by our intelligence to be associated with illicit narcotics smuggling while carrying narcotics, and were transiting along a known narco trafficking transit route in the East Pacific. Both strikes were conducted in international waters, and 3 male narco terrorists were aboard each vessel. All 6 were killed. No U.S. forces were harmed. Under President Trump, we are protecting the homeland and killing these cartel terrorists who wish to harm our country and its people. Here's video of the extrajudicial assassinations. No audio on this. Is it even real? Who knows? Does it even matter? It doesn't even matter if it's real, because they're setting the precedent. And you can jump up and down. Trump's the greatest, saving us from the drugs, all this. But you have to come to the realization that, hey, tomorrow, today, anytime, they can point the finger at you and I and say, you're the bad, whatever, narco terrorist, whatever they want to say. You're the bad guy, and now you're whacked because you're designated a terrorist by the crime syndicate, the U.S. federal government, Department of War. I wish people would see the problem here. Few do. MAGA blindly cheers this on. So yeah, U.S. federal government just murdered 6 people with no due process. And we just have to trust the lying criminal government that are the leading contraband traffickers in the world now. As Trump intensifies his war on drugs while simultaneously launching TrumpRx.gov to sell you drugs. You see a conflict of interest here? No? Nah, neither do I. Here's Trump yesterday at the NFL football game in Washington, D.C. The Washington Commanders played the Detroit Lions. And here's Trump giving a, quote, salute to service, or that was the game. And so that's how you know they're gearing up for a major war here, is all of the pro-military propaganda. For a while there, they were taking a knee, end racism, you're all bad for being white, and we're social justice warriors. Now it turns out we all love the American flag and illegal foreign wars of aggression. And so that is the new propaganda being pushed everywhere. Here's Trump at that football game yesterday. If any of that was true, again, they'd all turn themselves into the FEMA camps. White House posts this. Yeah, they're all actors. They're all actors. The man who does it all. Yeah. Of course, he's a good sports broadcaster there on Fox News NFL broadcast because he's an actor. They're literally telling you, MAGA don't have eyes to see this, but they're pumping the war propaganda. Here's images. Here's images of the reaction. Here's Pete Hegseth there. America's best stepped forward. America's best stepped forward. Proud to welcome the next generation of warriors and honor all who have worn the uniform. The Secretary of War was at that game as well. Truly disgusting. Oh yeah, we love going and dying in your illegal foreign wars of aggression for corporate profit. It's just wonderful. It's all fake, you see. I wish that the youth of America would realize this. And it's truly disgusting because it is paid for in their blood. And it's all funny. Here's Trump's jersey. They gave Trump a jersey. It's all wonderful, so funny. The raised fist. Of course, that's right out of your socialist communist propaganda, the raised fist from Trump. These are all posts from the White House. And they threw in Melania. She's an actress too. They had this Patriot Awards from Fox News. This is literally laughable. The humiliation ritual in everybody's face here. Patriot Awards 2025, Fox Nation. What a freaking joke. First Lady Melania, never stop trying new things. Keep pushing yourself to grow, both intellectually and personally. Embrace different perspectives, even opposing ones. Open your mind, then change the world through your talent and hard work. First Lady Melania Trump, as she is being honored with a Patriot Award from the CIA, Sean Hannity there. Oh, excuse me, Fox Newsman, war propagandist. There it is. That was posted by Office of the First Lady. Yeah, Al-Qaeda's at the White House. ISIS, Al-Qaeda. Apparently, we've gone full circle in the war on terror, and now we're bringing our Western intelligence agents back into the fold, as was the plan the entire time. And we're supposed to, it was just, this random thing. You know what I mean? Al-Sharara. And we have his other name here, too, his evil Al-Qaeda name. Maybe he should have been a Sikh. Just kidding, just kidding. Okay, here we go.
Some announcements on Syria. We want to see Syria become a country that's very successful, and I think this leader can do it. I really do. I think this leader can do it. And people said he's had a rough past. We've all had rough pasts, but he has had a rough past, and I think, frankly, if you didn't have a rough past, you wouldn't have a chance.
Yeah, Trump had a rough past with being best friends with Epstein. Oh, that's a Democrat hoax, sorry. More on Trump with Al-Qaeda at the White House today.
You had earlier. Did you come to any agreements today?
Well, I had an agreement with him. He's a very strong leader. He comes from a very tough place, and he's a tough guy. I liked him. I get along with him. The new president of Syria. And we'll do everything we can to make Syria successful because that's part of the Middle East. We have peace now in the Middle East, first time that anyone can remember that ever happening.
They're stacking bodies. They killed, I don't even know how many today. We'll get to that report later in the show. So just lying right to your face. And they didn't customarily, world leaders go to the White House and they put up this whole meme block with the video of them shaking hands with Trump. None of that. None of that for Ahmed al-Shara here. Former Al-Qaeda ISIS HTS leader, Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara greets cheering crowds after leaving the White House. Let's show this video. It's truly amazing. But is it? But is it? The hell's in that briefcase? A bomb? See that guy? His security, whoever this dude is holding up the briefcase like, we got a bomb in here, don't you know? Like, what the hell? What is this about? You know what I mean? What's this guy holding his briefcase up? I don't know. Bizarre, but all par for the course, isn't it here now? Al-Qaeda's come home to the West. Trump put this post out after the meeting today. It was an honor to spend time with Ahmed Hassan al-Shara, the new president of Syria, where we discussed all the intricacies of peace in the Middle East, of which he is a major advocate. I look forward to meeting and speaking again. Everyone is talking about the great miracle that is taking place in the Middle East. Having a stable and successful Syria is very important to all countries in the region. He proudly posts this with Al-Qaeda. Well, might as well. You know what I mean? The guy is a puppet of Western intelligence. So, yeah, it's coming home. Trump hosting ex-Al-Qaeda fighter with 100 million or 10 million, I'm sorry. It's just so... It's dystopic, but it is surreal. But here we are with $10 million bounty turned Syrian president at the White House. So again, this guy has had quite the reformation from internationally wanted terrorists with a $10 million bounty by the United States on his head to now being praised by Trump at the White House. Probably the greatest reformation, I don't know, in at least modern political history here now for this man. It is surreal indeed. But they didn't have the customary whole media campaign welcoming the president of Syria. I wonder why. I wonder why, White House. A little bit embarrassed. Maybe people might take a second look and start questioning what the hell's really going on here. But not the usual fanfare that we cover for all world leaders going to the White House. They did not roll out that same style of media campaign for al-Shara here. Shocking, I know. Almost like they're embarrassed of the whole thing and halfway saying how great it was, but not rolling out the full red carpet quite yet. Oh, that's hilarious. The never-ending war on terror. There it is, all yucking it up. Isn't that funny how you murdered all those people, cut off their heads? Oh, yeah, it was hilarious. But I'm a fine, upstanding young man. I trim my beard back now, and I don't even have a rag on my head. So you see, I'm fully reformed and ready to be president of Syria and serve Western interests. Oh, you already were as a terrorist leader. Well, now I'm formally the president of Syria. Well, welcome to the White House. Thank you very much. It's just what the again, very surreal, but that's where we're at here. That's where we're at in 2025. Well, he also saw a fit He's making a whirlwind tour. Al-Shara, he took time out of his busy schedule to visit the International Monetary Fund. Here's a clip of that.
Mr. President, welcome to the IMF.
They're all, we got a deal for you. You just sell out all your country's natural resources and we'll give you some fiat debt-based monetary system currency and you can, be a great leader. Part of the Western banking establishment. Seems to go against all of his, previous ideology. Denver gets it. Denver says ISIS, Al-Qaeda are awesome and got allies of America and Aardvark land. Exactly. Denver gets it. Denver gets it. So it's a time for celebration here now. And all of this amounts to, well, the United States Department of Treasury announces the suspension of enforcing Caesar Act sanctions on Syria, except for certain transactions related to Russia and Iran. Syria is now a geopolitical ally of America. That's what Al-Shara told Fox News in an interview. And about all that Al-Qaeda stuff, it's a matter of the past, you see. There you go. On Fox News, the War Channel. Oh my God. It would be hilarious. And I do, but it's dark humor. Excuse me. But the former head of Syria, ISIS, is on Fox News giving an interview about defeating ISIS. It's just sick. It's truly sick. That's where we're at, 2025, November 10. We've had a full rotation now on the war on terror, Al-Qaeda being praised at the White House. But don't you worry, the war on terror continues, you see. Where are we at here? Oh, on to the government shutdown. Happy government shutdown day 41. Turns out we may not be able to celebrate anymore because it may be coming to an end. All signs point toward that. Senators advance tentative deal to end government shutdown. The deal, negotiated by a group of Democrats and GOP leaders, funds the government through January 30th. If it passes, it still needs to clear the House, which will likely take days. So we still have a couple more days to relish the government shutdown. The agreement reached by a group of Democrats who teamed up with the Republicans cleared the first hurdle on a vote of 60-40 to advance in a late night Senate vote last night. If it's approved, it would then need to pass the House and gain President Trump's signature to become law and reopen the government. And of course, all these traitors love the government and want it reopened, but they're trying to wring out every bit of a pain on those, depending on the system, as possible. And so maybe someday, some way, America would take a clue, get a hint. If you didn't learn after the last 6 years of medical intervention, you probably never will. But this was a great hint to prep your supplies and be ready for anything, especially a man-made government shutdown that cuts off your dependence on government and leaves you out there in the bread lines. So take this opportunity to prep for the next time the government fails or whatever system fails, and be ready to say, I'm celebrating this thing because I already saw it coming, because I've been watching Weaponized News and took their advice to prep for just such an occasion. So yeah, it's they still got some wrangling to do over there in the House, but the Democrats are upset. Oh, F off. Democrats rage at pathetic shutdown, betrayal, and massive backlash. And by the way, they're all misrepresented. None of these, I don't believe any of these politicians even are running their social media accounts. So everything they say is a lie, on top of actually even being the ones that are posting. So not really surprising, but here is article out of Mediaite. Gavin Newsom, of course, running for president for Democrats. Pathetic. Talking about Chuck Schumer. And apparently they're not getting their funding for illegal aliens. Let's go through some of the outrage from the Democrats. The reaction from top Democrats across the country was fury. Let's go over some of the reaction. AOC, the average monthly SNAP benefit is $177 a person. The average Affordable Care Act benefit is up to $550 a person per month. Who needs to eat? Just eat a syringe and put a mask on it, and that's nutrition in America, right? Right. Okay. People want us to hold the line for a reason. Well, not for the reason I want, but this is not a matter of appealing to a base. It's a matter of people's lives. Working people want leaders whose words mean something, literally from an actress. Well, Trump's an actor too, and so is his wife. So they're literally all actors putting on a stage show of political theater to convince you that somehow, some way, they care about the people. All lies and propaganda from these actors. The government is illegitimate. I got back to my office after the vote tonight and recorded this. There is no way to sugarcoat what happened tonight. And my fear is that Trump gets stronger, not weaker, because of this acquiescence. I am angry like you, but I choose to keep fighting. Chris Murphy, corrupt senator out of Connecticut there, always looking to take away your right to self-defense. More of these clowns. I don't even know who this guy is. Oh, this is a Democrat up-and-comer, I believe. I've seen a little bit about this guy. He's a left-wing populist. This moment demands fighters, not folders. Really? And Gavin Newsom, pathetic. Pritzker, this is not a deal. It's an empty promise. Trump and his Republican Congress are making healthcare more expensive for middle class and ending it for working families. Time for Democrats to stand tall for affordable healthcare. It's just so laughable. Again, you don't want anything from this Rockefeller medicine system except for extreme emergency care. But go ahead and cry about not getting access to Rockefeller medicine, and you're going to get exactly. Be careful what you wish for, because you will get it. And it'll be the orderly pain and bankruptcy and ultimate termination is what you will get from Rockefeller medicine as it's designed, you see. But they leave all that part out. That's why you have to listen to Weaponized News, because we give you the background, the detail, the understanding to know how you can say extremist things like we do at Weaponized News, and tell you that indeed the government is a crime syndicate and Rockefeller medicine is out to bankrupt and terminate you. Who's this joker? Ro Khanna. Senator Schumer is no longer effective and should be replaced. Blasphemy, Ro Khanna. The sentiment was echoed by some Democrat activists online, and it just goes on and on of crying. More crying, more crying. Can we even take the tears anymore? Update for all of you out there. The government won. The government's still in charge. And so you can act like Republican or Democrat matters. It doesn't. It doesn't. Bernie Sanders tonight was very bad. Civil war breaks out among Democrats after caving on shutdown. Really? I got news for you. They're all in on it together. And this is all political theater to keep us divided. Sorry, moguls. Remember last week I was saying avoid commercial air flight. Now avoid all air flight, apparently. This report out of the Hollywood Reporter tells us, sorry, moguls, FAA effectively prohibits private jets at major airports amid government shutdown. So even I'm sure if you're a billionaire and you want to fly, you'll do just fine. You know what I mean? But now we're getting to the haves, right? The haves were starting to be affected by the government shutdown. So obviously something had to be passed for you poor people starving on SNAP benefits, because these moguls wouldn't be able to navigate their private jets in and out of air travel now, allegedly, according to this report. The government shutdown has come for the preferred mode of transportation for media moguls and celebrities' private jets. That's where we had enough, and something had to be passed, obviously. The 1% was starting to be affected here now in their jet-setting pedophilic lifestyles. You know what I mean? So, of course, something had to be passed, and it was. Where are we at here? Well, let's hear from Trump on air travel.
To Americans that travel is going to go back to normal once the government...
That travel is? Oh, yeah. It'll go better than normal. You know why?
When the government reopens.
Yeah, sure. It'll be much better than normal because we're buying the most sophisticated avionics and, technology for our control towers. And we didn't have that. We had a guy named Buttigieg. This is the best way. Just say two edges, like off the edge of a cliff, which is where they were taking us, by the way. Buttigieg was the Secretary of Transportation, and he spent billions of dollars trying to patch together our air traffic control system, which was a conglomeration of all different systems in all different cities. They had hundreds of companies working on it, and they were spending billions of dollars. And when they turned it on, it didn't work. It didn't even work a little bit. That's why you had a helicopter crashing into an airplane, that if we had a great system, bells and whistles would have started going off. So we are now in the process. We're in the final bids of getting the finest system anywhere in the world. I've analyzed it. Sean Duffy has been working really hard on it, doing a fantastic job.
There you go. Don't worry about it. They're rolling out technocracy. The air traffic controllers will be replaced in due time. They already are. They just don't even know it yet. Denver's dropping some big ideas here in the chat. I would like to explore those ideas more, but we don't really have the time on the show. Markov's property. The future state is independent of the past, given the present state mathematically. It's a big ass formula there. One feature of Markov's chains is memorylessness. We'll have to look into that in more detail. Denver, appreciate that very complex idea that you presented in the chat there. Yeah, and everybody knows having a memory is a conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? So, yeah, makes sense to me. We'll have to take a deeper look at that. And then why a lot of people are getting hacked with government spyware. TechCrunch put out this article. For more than a decade, makers of government spyware have defended themselves from criticism by saying that the surveillance technology is intended to be used only against serious criminals and terrorists and only in limited cases. The evidence gathered from dozens, if not hundreds, of documented incidences of spyware abuse all over the world, however, shows that neither of these arguments are true. It's just so stupid. I trust the government. They're only getting the bad guys, but aren't we the baddies? Wait a minute. It's so confusing. Journalists, human rights activists, and politicians have repeatedly been targeted in both repressive regimes and democratic countries. Oh, you don't say. Like America? The largest example is a political consultant who works for left-wing politicians in Italy who came out as the most recently confirmed victim of Paragon spyware in the country. You don't say. This is the latest case that spyware is proliferating far beyond the scope of what we had typically considered to be rare or limited attacks targeting only a few people at a time. Well, some would say, that they will expand these drone strikes. I know it's a different topic, but can you see the overlay here? That they will proliferate these drone strikes on said terrorists. This is, of course, talking about in the digital space, but it goes over the top, you see. This is the latest case. The latest case shows that spyware is proliferating far beyond the scope of what we had typically considered to be rare or limited attacks, targeting only a few people at a time. I think that there is some misunderstanding at the heart of stories about who gets targeted by this kind of government spyware, which is that you are targeted, you are public enemy number one, said director of cybersecurity at the Electronic Foundation, Frontier Foundation, who has studied spyware for years. Yeah, so they're targeting us every which way. You may be targeted for drone termination before you know it. Justice Department struggles as thousands exit and few are replaced. Well, they've been replaced by AI. The Justice Department has lost thousands of experienced attorneys since the start of the Trump administration and has backfilled a fraction of the open jobs. Yeah, well, even crooked attorneys don't want to work for this crooked system, is where we're at here now. Report out of Washington Compost. U.S. trust in government depends upon party control. This right here says it all. You're brainwashed fools if you have any faith in this corrupt corporate government. Gallup, consistent with recent patterns, Republicans trust up sharply this year, while Democrats has cratered. Well, you're a damn fool if you trust this government. I don't care what puppet, what party, you're just a damn fool. And so they do know all of this and social engineer and use psyops and mind control against us. And so maybe somehow, some way, America would wake up to this. Trust in U.S. federal government should be at zero, honestly. And so you can see here, Republicans, they trust the judges, you see. I don't know why. Democrats, they don't trust them so much. See right here, handle international problems. Democrats down to 17. It's just all in a nutshell. These polls capture why your faith in government is very bad, you see, because when your guy gets in, it's all cool. It's the same government tyranny, regardless, Republican, Democrat, or independent. Trump pardons Giuliani, Meadows, others allegedly involved in efforts to overturn the 2020 election results, including false electors. So Trump issued a bunch of pardons. More than 70 people were given a pardon today by Trump. And so they put America through the whole 2020 elections are rigged, PSYOP, which was actually the truth, but they've always been rigged in American democracy, you see. Maybe someday, some way, voting harder will save this republic, as they tell us. I have my doubts. So let's see, here's the list. And I'm not going to name all these people, but here's the list so we can document it. Here's a bunch of them. Pardon all these people. So there you go. That's law and order and justice in Trump's America here. America 250, brought to you by Palantir. More from Trump. Thought we're getting smaller government. Doge told us. Huh?
We hired 4,000 appointees across every federal department in record time, including over 1,000 appointments on day one. So before we even got started, we had over 1,000 people working for us. Under Sergio's leadership, federal agencies and departments reached staffing levels of 95%, and is faster than any administration in modern day history.
Is that MAGA? Is that what you voted for? Appeals court rules that Trump administration cannot block $4 billion in SNAP benefits. A federal appeals court yesterday allowed a Rhode Island judge's order to stand, which requires the Trump administration to provide full funding for this month's food assistance program, serving 42 million low-income Americans amid the ongoing government shutdown. The first U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals in Boston declined to block the ruling, which requires the USDA to use $4 billion set aside for other purposes to ensure full SNAP benefits, also known as SNAP. The ruling will not take immediate effect because Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Jackson Brown, don't know what a woman is, issued a temporary hold on the lower court order. Her hold remains in place for 48 hours following the appeals court decision. Meanwhile, the USDA told states to reverse any steps taken to issue full SNAP benefits before Jackson's order or face financial penalties, leaving the status of the program uncertain. The Trump administration argued the courts cannot appropriate federal funds. I argued that same thing. And that Congress must resolve the crisis by ending the shutdown. Yesterday, the Senate, we already went over it, advanced a measure intended to reopen the federal government. That's where we're at. That's where we're at with it all. Waiting for the bureaucracy, the government, to do something. So we won't have the government shut down to all signs point toward. We won't have the government shut down to celebrate much longer. So bask in the glory of this government shutdown while we can. And with that, let's take a live commercial break. Everybody go to weaponizednews.com. Get yourself a holograph sticker there, a white background sticker, a clear background sticker there at weaponizednews.com. Put it on your laptop, your bumper, your work locker, your guitar, your hard hat, and help spread the word about independent reporting and analysis at weaponizednews.com. We appreciate the subscribers, the patrons to the store, and the donations. And again, let me take this opportunity to announce that we're going to bring Simon back on the show next month, once a week, for some deep dives into his geopolitical analysis like no one else on the interwebs. And so look forward to that next month on Weaponized News. Go to weaponizednews.com, as we have many different items over there for your patronage, and it's appreciated. And I was working, Plutonium sent me an idea for a shirt, and I didn't get it exactly right, so I didn't issue it today, but I'm still working on it. And so keep your ideas coming for shirts and other designs of products at Weaponized News. Go to weaponizednews.com, click on the store, and you too can be a patron of Weaponized News. And again, help support independent reporting and analysis on the interwebs. We have these custom shirts, pet ID tags, a few books over there, taxation theft, classic shirt there. We have all different types of apparel, from your camouflage Weaponized News hat to your classic black t-shirt with a Weaponized News logo, to a beanie for your baby with a Weaponized News logo on there. Start them early and often, being critical of this system. Your children will thank you for it later in life. And with that, welcome back to the second half of Weaponized News on this November 10th, 2025 edition. We appreciate everybody tuning in on this Monday as we're back into the economy's great. You know what I mean? Trump says any money left over from his $2,000 tariff stimulus checks will be used to pay down the U.S. national debt. That's over $38 trillion. It's almost laughable here, but remember we got the audit of the Fort Knox, our $5,000 Doge check. Everything's, oh, none of that happened? What? Yeah, none of that happened. It's just propaganda and lies from your government. But here's another lie from your government. All money left over from the $2,000 payments made to low and middle income U.S. citizens from the massive tariff income pouring into our country from foreign countries will be used to substantially pay down the national debt. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Really? I have my doubts. But hey, they tell us the economy's wonderful. There is no inflation, and we love the central bank cartel. Oh, yeah. They're making up for all of your dollar debasement. But don't you worry. The insiders, the 1%, will have access to the Federal Reserve discount window and get all of these funds before you do. And by the time you and I get any of these funds, they will be fully debased, as is designed by the system. See, I didn't know that, but thanks to Trump's economic lesson there, I didn't know that if we have a national debt because of tariffs, not because of the fundamental fact that we have a debt-based fiat monetary system. Maybe Trump should be a university economics professor after his tenure as president there to tell us some more falsehoods about the economy. I know he's Wharton School of Business educated, so he knows damn well what's going on here. But apparently, the education system in America has failed because the large majority out there still don't understand our monetary policy in this country. President Trump defeated Joe Biden's inflation crisis. That's right out of the White House. They tell us from Bobblehead Levitt, Blondie there. She goes on to say, just like he promised. We are already seeing the cost of breakfast items fall as a result. President Trump is laser focused on continuing to make America affordable again. And they put out this data. We can't have government data, right? So, because the government shut down, and they lie about all the data anyway. And so does DoorDash, but it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? DoorDash put out this post, reposted by the White House. Good morning. Lower prices from DoorDash's first ever State of Local Commerce report. Our breakfast basics index tracking the cost of breakfast groceries is down 14% since March. That's one sign of strength in local economies. Consumers are stretching their dollar further, and Main Street is proving resilient. Dive in for more insights. How about this idea? I don't even eat breakfast. How about that idea? I cut a meal out of my diet because this economy is so bad. Oh, we don't want to talk about that. Again, not giving medical advice. Fast and pray. It's free. And the economy is providing you easy access to it. Can't afford breakfast? What the hell? Should have fasted anyway. Break fast. Let's take a look at this report from DoorDash, because we can't get government data, the people we paid to actually crunch the numbers. Prices steadying across everyday essentials, according to DoorDash. Breakfast basics index decreased 14% between March and September of this year, and everyday essentials remained flat during this period. Local businesses are beating the odds. Forget the doom loop. Downtown seeing momentum return. More people are turning to flexible work to earn on their own terms. In 2019, fewer than 1 in 200 adults in the United States tried dashing for the first time. That number is about 1 in 15 over the years since. So that's a great economy. You have to work in the gig economy as a food delivery driver. Isn't it wonderful? Doesn't that make you feel like your worthless college degree is giving you that return on the investment to help pay off those student loan debts? Oh, never mind any of that. Families are living where their dollars go further. You don't say. Welcome to How People Spend. Oh my gosh. I just can't even take it anymore. So anyway, they put out a bunch of data according to DoorDash. Maybe lay off a cheeseburger now and then. Maybe lay off breakfast. Maybe learn how to live in a depression, economic that is. We want your mental health up to par so you can deal with all this propaganda and lies coming out of your corporate government. So we do need your mental health up here, but your financial health, we're in a depression. Sorry to tell you, regardless of the lies that they're pumping out here. Okay, continuing. We got a lot more news to get to. Let's blast through since we can't get government data, which is a lie, we take the next best thing, corporate data, which is a lie. Here's from the White House. New data, lower prices, bigger paychecks. Trump's bold economic agenda is delivering real-world results for American families, with new data from DoorDash's State of Local Commerce report confirming that inflation has been tamed. Everyday prices are beginning to drop and wages are growing. From breakfast tables to store shelves, President Trump's agenda is lowering costs when families need it the most, fueling an economic comeback that is only just beginning as President Trump works to make America affordable again. As we see record layoffs in the tech sector, pay no mind to that. President Trump has tamed inflation. Bullshit. But we'll report on the propaganda and lies the White House is saying here, citing the DoorDash data. The Breakfast Basics Index, which measures the price of three eggs, a glass of milk, a bagel, and an avocado, decreased 14% between March and September and 1.7% over the past year. The Everyday Essentials Index, which measures the price of toothpaste, make sure to get your fluoride there as it's banned in drinking water supplies throughout the country. Don't be a conspiracy theorist and make sure to swallow your fluoride toothpaste to get your daily allotment of fluoride in your diet. Shampoo, toilet paper, laundry detergent, pain medicine, and diapers. Don't forget your, oxycodons. Fell the past year. Americans are beginning to see price declines. Over the past year, prices actually declined for cheese, cereal, and bars, fresh fruits, frozen meals, packaged meals, condiments, batteries, computer and accessories, phones and accessories, medicines, oral care, vitamins and supplements, outdoor products, and toys and games. I don't know what economy they're living in. Must be China's, because it's not America's they're talking about here. But we'll put that to the side for now. President Trump's policies are fueling wage growth. Really? Where? Just make up whatever. Oh, in some city somewhere, somebody got a raise, maybe. Local economies are resilient. 56% of consumers say they've seen fewer businesses close in their communities over the past year. There's like a wave of all these Starbucks, who else? Wendy's, all these drugstores. What the hell? Maybe they should lock it down so you could see more business closures in your community. Overall food spend has increased nearly 5% over the last year, faster than prices have risen, suggesting consumers are buying more from businesses in their communities. All total bullshit, but whatever. Again, the economy is in large part a confidence game, and so they have to portray confidence in their failed debt-based fiat monetary system and never get to the underlying root cause of said depression. Never in here now. And deny it and change the definitions and psyop and point this way, that way, and up and down and everything, except for pointing the finger squarely back at the privately held central bank, the Federal Reserve. We know how to fix this problem, but no, keep believing government lies and we'll be in this never-ending doom loop forever, as is the design, i.e. we're in the Great Reset. No more money, hundreds of billions of dollars to the Democrat-supported insurance companies for really bad Obamacare. The money must now go directly to people, taking the fat cat insurance companies out of the corrupt system of healthcare. The people can buy their own much better policy for much less money, savings for themselves, and an absolute fortune. Donald Trump put out this post over the weekend. I don't disagree with him here. But hey, we got a new war on drugs, revamped war on drugs. And so now you can buy all of your drugs from TrumpRx.gov as they get rid of the competition. Not quite yet, but coming soon. Coming soon. There you go. Don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. Don't even buy them from TrumpRx.gov. No matter how enticing it may seem, they're still pushing drugs on you. Hey, but take your Ozempic. Who cares about the side effects? No long-term safety data. Who effing cares? TrumpRx.gov? Yes.
More Americans will now have access to popular obesity drugs known as Zepbound and Wegovy, and they'll have that access at reduced prices. President Trump today announced a deal with the drug makers Eli Lilly, Novo Nordisk to reduce the cost. The drugs have soared in popularity recently, but can cost as much as $1,000 each month. Under that new deal, the monthly out-of-pocket cost would range from $50 to $350, depending on the dosage and insurance coverage. Those on Medicare will pay no more than $50 copay. The new prices could begin in January.
There you go. Take your Gila Monster Venom there. More propaganda.
This could be a game changer for millions of Americans who want or even may need these weight loss drugs but can't afford them. GLP-1 medications like Wegovy and Zepbound are proven effective to help people lose weight and in reducing the risk of type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and stroke. They have exploded in popularity over the past several years, but accessibility is a challenge, with these drugs costing roughly $500 a month if you don't have health insurance coverage. New deals the Trump administration just announced with Eli Lilly, the maker of Zepbound, and Novo Nordisk, which makes Wegovy, will bring the out-of-pocket cost down to $350 a month for the starter doses by early next year. The daily pill versions of these drugs are expected to get FDA approval in the coming months, and when they do, they will start at $149 a month. And as soon as next summer, people on Medicare who are severely obese will have expanded access to the drug, paying a monthly $50 copay.
Take your endocrine destroying poison. Denver gets it. He knows what's the score here. I know our audience gets it. I wish we could get the rest of these people, the rest of these Americans, our friends, family, neighbors, and acquaintances to get it. I know a lot of them do, but we're so far down this rabbit hole of one world government, Great Reset. Well, they also call it the fourth turning. There's many different, but it's all coming to a head. It's all coming to a head here. There's Bobby Kennedy Jr. Maha.
For more than 2 decades, the American medical establishment turned its back on women. Millions of women were told to fear the very therapy that could have given them strength, peace, and dignity through one of life's most difficult transitions, menopause. That ends today. The FDA is initiating the removal of a broad black box warnings from hormone replacement therapy products for menopause. We're challenging outdated thinking and recommitting to evidence-based medicine that empowers rather than restricts. When prescribed responsibly and started early, hormone replacement therapy transforms the lives of women. Hormone replacement therapy has been found to reduce the risks of cardiovascular disease and mortality by as much as 50%, Alzheimer's disease by 35%, bone fractures by 50 to 60%, as well as reducing cognitive decline and all-cause mortality. In other words, extending the lives for as much as 10 years.
Getting rid of the black box warnings. Menopause hormone therapies. This is from the Health and Human Services Department. Says also commonly referred to as hormone replacement therapy, or HRT, are proved to provide relief from common menopause symptoms such as hot flashes and night sweats. Women may be underutilizing approved therapies that can alleviate menopause symptoms and improve women's health because of misleading FDA black box warnings that the agency is removing. I don't know, women. Do you trust any of this? I sure in the hell don't. Be very careful. Be very careful what these characters are up to. Chloe says Senate just passed the funding bill. So our days of celebrating the government shutdown are numbered here. Indeed. Trump said, I recommend to Senate Republicans that the hundreds of billions of dollars currently being sent to money-sucking insurance companies in order to save the bad health care provided by Obamacare be sent directly to the people so that they can purchase their own much better health care and have money left over. In other words, take the big bad insurance companies, give it to the people, and terminate per dollar spent the worst health care anywhere in the world, Obamacare. Unrelated, we must still terminate the filibuster. And so isn't that how the best propaganda works? They have to sprinkle in a little bit of truth to get to hook the fish. They have to give you the bait. And so, sounds good. Can we trust in Trump, a disingenuous puppet president working for the technocracy? No, we can't. Because again, he has great populist rhetoric in these posts. But reality is a whole different story than his rhetoric. The FDA will follow the science, and America's women will finally get the care, the respect, and the honesty they deserve. Pushing this dope on you, man. TrumpRx.gov. And then, of course, when was he there? A couple weeks back. Pfizer CEO, Albert Bourla, problem reaction solution. In your face. They're developing your cancer treatments at Pfizer at the speed of light. They should actually mandate them, right? Who cares if you don't even have cancer? Just mandate it. Oh, they gave it to you? Come on. Okay, a little geopolitical news here. There was not much really happening, as there's always a lot in the world, right? But we had to calm down because Al-Qaeda went to the White House, and so we had to honor the war on terror of a reform. See, we're winning the war on terror, I guess. They don't say that, but they should use that as propaganda. Hey, we won the war on terror. We convinced this radical jihadist head chopper, al-Shara, to come over to the west side. We're the good guys, right? Huh? Yeah, well. So, world peace. Our intelligence assets have come home. Here is Sergey Gore is sworn in today as U.S. ambassador to India. Now he can go threaten them about who they buy oil from. You know what I mean? Iraq freezes payments to Russia's Lukoil amid U.S. pressure. Sanctions fallout. Russia's Lukoil has declared force majeure at Iraq's giant West Qurm 2 oil field following Washington's October sanctions, part of its campaign to pressure Moscow over the war in Ukraine. Iraq has since frozen all cash and crude payments to Lukoil, while its state oil maker canceled multiple shipments for November, report out of Reuters and Bloomberg. So the economic pressure there by Trump using sanctions as an economic tool of war appears to be working to the intended outcomes there. But they can and must and will find another way. Aardvark land is pressuring Lebanon's army to search private homes in the south of Lebanon for Hezbollah weapons. Lebanon refuses, fearing civil unrest and mission creep that could fuel a new conflict. Report out of Reuters. They're gearing up to go ahead and, well, they already are, but even a more major bombing. They're bombing them right now of Lebanon. Man arrested for yelling F the Aardvarks at Barstool Sports Dave Portnoy. And so we wouldn't have it any other way. First Amendment, freedom of speech here in America. Hug an Aardvark, be their friend, help them do a false flag Jussie Smollett graffiti swastika. You know what I mean? They may find that endearing. This poor character didn't catch the grip of where we're at today. And 20-year-old Patrick McClintock has reportedly been arrested for disturbing the peace after he yelled profanity at Portnoy during a visit to Mississippi. And so, yeah, here's the video of said incident. Don't yell F the Aardvarks in public to known Aardvarks, or you will be charged with a hate crime here in America.
Hey, fuck the Jews! Fuck you, Dave.
Not cool.
Why you come in the camera, buddy? What? Come here.
Oh my gosh.
So there you go. Thankfully, he's been found, Patrick McClintock, and been charged with hate. There you go. Disturbing the peace. Very hateful indeed. The big story of the day, in my opinion, well, Qaeda at the White House is a pretty big deal. But this story as well out of Aardvark Knesset. Aardvark land, Benjamin Netanyahu is visibly stone-faced as Knesset member Lazimi rips him to shreds during a heated session. I accuse you, Benjamin Netanyahu, of October 7th massacre. I accuse you of funding Hamas and turning a blind eye. It's all true. She needs to be sanctioned and droned immediately. Let's play the clip. It's in there choking on some phlegm language here, but we do have it translated into English subtitles for you. Let's take a look here. Bold woman over there in the Knesset. She may be an Hamas terrorist.
בנימין נתניהו, מאשימה אותך בטבח 7 באוקטובר. האסון הגדול ביותר שידעה המדינה קרה במשמרתך. גם אם אתה ישן עם מצפון נקי, לא נשכח לך, נזעק את ההפקרה, תקום ועדת חקירה ממלכתית. אני מאשימה אותך, בנימין נתניהו, במימון החמאס, בבניית הטרור, ועצימת העיניים האיום הקיומי עלינו, בהפקרת ביטחון המדינה כמדיניות. ביטחון הוא לא אינסטרומנט פוליטי, שמעת? הוא מעל הכל. אני מאשימה אותך, נתניהו, הפכת את הציבור העובד והמשרת לחמורו של משיח. יצרת את ברית ההשתמטות והסיפוח. גבורת הלוחמים נעלמה מעיניך, אבל לא מעינינו. היא האור שאיתו נבנה מחדש. אני מאשימה אותך, נתניהו. השחיתות האישית שלך הפכה למכת מדינה. כל מושחת הופך שותף. ככל שיש לך תיק יותר גדול על מישהו, הוא יותר נוח לך. משפט של איש אחד לקח מדינה שלמה כבת ערובה. אני מאשימה אותך, נתניהו, כי שכחת מה זה להיות יהודי. טראמפ החזיר חטופים במקומך, בזמן שאתה, בלי חשומה, התעסקת בלרתום אותו לחנינה. עשרות חטופים נרצחו ונהרגו בשבי, כשאתה לא קיימת את מצוות פדיון שבויים. חסר מצפון ובלי אלוהים. אני מאשימה אותך, נתניהו, הגזענות תמיד שירתה אותך. קראת אותנו מבפנים, הפכת חצי עם לאויב. אז נתניהו, אני המרוקאית, המסורתית ממגדל העמק אומרת לך, אנחנו נשבור את החומות שבנית, אנחנו ננקה את הרעל ששפכת פה 30 שנה, אנחנו נחזור להיות חברה מאוחדת. אני מאשימה אותך, נתניהו, רוצחים פה אזרחים כאילו הם אבק אדם. משילות, עלק. כשהליכוד מתנהל כמו ארגון פשע, ארגוני הפשיעה מרימים ראש. אני מאשימה אותך, נתניהו, כן, בהקרבת החיים עצמם. אנשים גמורים תחת המציאות הכלכלית. לא יודעים איך להיכנס לסופר ולשלם חשבונות. הכל פה הפך יקר. רק החיים תחתיך הפכו לזולים עד כאב.
Bold indeed. Wow. Yeah. She laid it out right there. Now let's hear from Bibi. I don't believe we have, I'll just read it to you because we don't have the translation of, yeah, somebody needs to get a throat lozenge for these people. Maybe that should be our next big outreach program, right? Hey, aardvarks, we know that you have a problem with some stuck in your throat. We got some lozenges for you. They're kosher. You know what I mean? It's all blessed. It's all sanctioned here now in our aardvark outreach program to not be charged with, a hate crime against you. We're helping, you see. So Bibi at said Knesset meeting had to say Gaza will be demilitarized and Hamas will be disarmed. It will happen either the easy way or the hard way. Again, as has been reiterated by IDF commanders, you cannot kill an idea, which is the resistance to the Zionist entity there in West Asia. But, well, what the hell? They're still bombing the hell out of southern Lebanon. We got video. Here's a still image. Oh, it's a ceasefire. There's bombing the hell out of it. Everything's on fire. Everything's on fire. Well, what the hell? It's a ceasefire. I mean, how many violations? Hundreds, right? Hundreds we've documented here. Oh, yeah, heavy artillery fire there in southern Gaza. So in Kiyanis, so they're in Kiyanis, excuse me. So their idea of ceasefires, heavy artillery fire, carpet bombings, and the like. They're in Gaza and southern Lebanon. Aardvark Land Army vehicles fire toward Al-Tufa neighborhood in eastern Gaza City earlier today. That's what I call a ceasefire. From the Gaza Ministry of Health, Gaza hospitals have received 3. 1 newly killed, 1 recovered from the rubble, and 1 who succumbed to their injuries in the past 24 hours. So they pared down, right? We did the calculation and we said it was like 1 aardvark for every 34 dead Palestinians. And so we've pared down that ratio. 1 a day means a ceasefire. You know, I guess 3, but 1 newly dead today. Yeah, it's an aardvark ceasefire. Less, you know what I mean? They're like, Bibi was over there at the Knesset. And so 1 in aardvark math equals 0. Ceasefire is upheld. Trump polls too. Peace in the Middle East. So since the alleged ceasefire there in Gaza, there's been 242 killed. That's in as of October 11th, 2025. So it hasn't even been, I guess tomorrow will be a month, or we're at 30 days right now. Right? So that's an aardvark ceasefire. 242 dead, 622 injured, and 529 bodies recovered. The bodies recovered is like, well, I guess maybe they whacked them before the ceasefire, but yeah, stacking a lot of bodies. Aardvark soldiers confirm Palestinian civilians murdered without restraint in Gaza free-for-all. A new film shows that aardvark land troops were encouraged to exterminate Palestinians, including women and children, by their political and aardvark and religious leaders. You don't say. In a new documentary film, aardvark soldiers have described a, quote, free-for-all in Gaza in which they killed civilians, quote, without restraint, with the encouragement of politicians and rabbis. The Guardian reported today, if you want to shoot without restraint, you can, stated Daniel, the commander of an aardvark tank unit. And it just goes on and on and on. I don't know what convicted you. This is damn antiseptics on the interwebs. No, it's actually your own troops admitting they're committing ethnic cleansing, war crimes, crimes against humanity, genocide. And so it's actually your own troops here now. It's you antiseptics. Oh, okay. Damn the hate. We'll follow up and we'll circle back a la Raggedy Ann and dig into this newly released documentary as the week goes on here. But I wanted to put that. Oh, yeah. Roughly 1,200 aardvarks and foreign nationals were killed in the Hamas attack. Aardvark land blamed all these deaths on Hamas. However, the military itself killed hundreds. Let me read that to you again. However, the military itself killed hundreds with attack helicopters, drones, and tanks per a special order known as the Hannibal Directive, as we continue to report here at Weaponized News. So, yeah, Aardvark President Herzog, there are no innocent citizens in the Gaza Strip. And we've reported the comments from aardvark leaders across their political spectrum where they continue to dehumanize the Palestinians and say they're not even humans and they're all Hamas, men, women, and children, regardless of whatever affiliation you have. You're in Gaza, you're Palestinian, you're a damn Hamas terrorist. And them's the breaks, man. Report finds aardvark land deliberately targeted journalists and media tents in Gaza. They deliberately targeted AP and Reuters reporters from the mainstream. They don't give a damn. A new report from the Freedoms Committee of the Palestinian Journalists Syndicate accuses aardvark land of deliberately targeting journalists and media infrastructure in Gaza, including tents near hospitals and UN-run shelters. The report says areas of displacement were hit by sniper fire and precision weapons, killing journalists who had taken refuge after being forcibly displaced. The committee described the attacks, which destroyed media offices and killed reporters in their homes and shelters, as systemic efforts to silence witnesses and obstruct documentation of events. It stressed that such targeting constitutes a war crime under Article 79 of the first edition protocol of the Geneva Conventions. UN's a bunch of Hamas terrorists too, as we've been educated by Bibi and Fox News and the like. The syndicate called for an independent international commission and ICC involvement to investigate these crimes, urging cooperation with UNESCO and the International Federation for Journalists to provide urgent protection. It cited the August strike that killed 6 journalists, including Al Jazeera journalists outside Gaza City hospital, as a clear example of deliberate targeting. They would never do such a thing, even though 6 degrees of separation says you're all damn Hamas terrorists. Never forget it. Allah, Palantir Software. Aardvark land continues systemic attacks and blockade in Gaza despite ceasefire. Over a month after the ceasefire in Gaza, Aardvark land continues to impose conditions that devastate the lives of more than 2 million Palestinians. Euromed Human Rights Monitor reports that the Aardvark land military has killed 242 civilians, including 85 children, and injured around 619 others since October 10th, averaging more than 8 deaths and 20 injuries per day. Peace in the Middle East. Maha, MAGA, America. These attacks, combined with aerial and artillery bombardment, home destructions, and restrictions on movement, medical care, and reconstruction, indicate a sustained policy targeting Gaza's population while exploiting the absence of international oversight. The blockade continues to prevent essential humanitarian aid, with roughly 70% of required goods blocked and vital food and medical items restricted. Chronic hunger, raising child malnutrition, and shortages in miracles highlighted the humanitarian crisis. That's actually the backhanded help they truly don't understand. Is so you take the good with the bad when you're under genocide, and you should thank your God that you're not getting full miracle campaigns bestowed upon you. Maybe someday, some way, we'll sort all this out. I have my doubts. Aardvark land also controls crossings such as Rafah, limiting the movement of civilians, including the sick and wounded, effectively maintaining a state of controlled deprivation and obstructing the second phase of the ceasefire. Euromed Human Rights Monitor argues that these actions contribute to dismantling Gaza's geographical unity and risk forced displacement of its residents. Oh, you don't say. Here's an image of the sea of humanity that are the poor Palestinians. Continuing here. The Gaza Center for Human Rights, nearly 2 million Palestinians in the Gaza Strip are living through a worsening humanitarian catastrophe each day as winter approaches, amid the absence of safe shelter, a shortage of tents, and a scarcity of blankets and winter clothing. Well, maybe they should take a page out of the U.S. government's playbook and go ahead and give them some smallpox blankets. Just saying, it could keep them warm during this very cold winter. World Bank backs U.S. draft UN resolution on Gaza transitional governance. The World Bank supports the U.S. drafted UN Security Council resolution on Gaza that would authorize a 2-year mandate for a transitional governance body, according to a letter to the U.S. seen by Reuters. Our engagement in Gaza will require the ability to work with international partners who enjoy the full support of the international community and full authorization to undertake their efforts, the World Bank said. The proposal to establish an authority in the current draft, the Board of Peace by the UN Security Council, with authorization set out in the resolution, would provide the needed framework for engagement by the bank, the World Bank said in a letter dated this Saturday. Aardvarkland Prime Minister, Shadow President of America, Benjamin Netanyahu, said, "There are days like today when I look back at the mission that has guided me through my public life to fight those who seek to destroy us and to ensure our existence in our land. The campaign is not over. Hamas will disarm and Gaza will be demilitarized, either the easy way or the hard way." I think we said that quote. "And my undying devotion to Satan will continue." No, I added that part. Sorry. We want to establish a commission that will have the broadest possible public support, not one that half the nation rejects or believes is rigged in advance. Well, I got news for you. Anything this guy is involved in is rigged in advance. Well, we were promised up and down by the Trump campaign this last 2024 election cycle that Jared Kushner was removed from any participating in the Trump 47 administration. Turns out that was a goddamn lie. Jared Kushner meets with Netanyahu to discuss Rafah tunnel crisis as mediators have scrambled to prevent Aardvarkland forces from killing 200 resistance fighters trapped in tunnels underneath Gaza. They're in Rafah. And so we're promised this joker, this chameleon, this Satanist, Jared Kushner would not be part of, but turns out he's a big part of Trump 47 administration. Lies told and lies kept. A scuffle nearly turned into a fist fight between Arab Aardvark Knesset member Ayman Odysee and National Security Minister, intrepid provocateur Ben Gvir during the Knesset vote on the death penalty law for Palestinian prisoners convicted of, quote, terrorist-related murder. Let's watch this clip. The Knesset over there in Aardvarkland was quite lively today, or over the weekend.
מה זה צריך להיות? מה זה? בריונות. טוב, בבקשה. הוא כמעט הרביץ לה, מה זה ההתנהלות הזאת? הרביץ למי? למה היא בכלל נמצאת פה? למה היא נמצאת פה? למה היא צועקת כל הזמן? בבקשה, אני מבקשת.
Excuse me, something must have been in my throat. No, they're looking to do the death penalty on all their prisoners and terminate them over there. Call them all damn terrorists. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Foreign Press Association condemns Aardvark settler attacks on journalists in the occupied West Bank. You don't say. The Foreign Press Association, FPA, denounced attacks by Aardvark settlers targeting journalists in the occupied West Bank, calling on Aardvark authorities to stop the violence immediately. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Foreign Press Association. Again, they fired on their own IDF They fired on Russian diplomats, UN diplomats, other diplomats. And so the homicidal maniacs known as the aardvark settlers are just that, homicidal maniacs, ultra-Zionists. Journalists, both local and foreign, have proven to be a clear target as they document an unprecedented level of unchecked violence against Palestinians during this year's olive harvest. The group said, yeah, we've documented it here at Weaponized News. We continue to report. A mob of dozens of settlers beat one of the employees of an olive outfit, a female reporter, while she was already on the ground, resulting in severe injuries. Yeah, lucky she's not dead. Aardvark man arrested for alleged contract with Iranian agents. Aardvark land police and the Shin Bet security agency announced today that they had arrested a 27-year-old Tel Aviv resident, accused him of pedophilia. Oh no, they didn't accuse any of that. Accused of contacting Iranian operatives and carrying out assignments for them. The suspect was detained last Thursday in a joint operation by Shin Bet and the Tel Aviv district's cybercrime unit. Investigators said he had allegedly reached out independently to Iranian agents via social media platform and completed several missions in return for payment. According to the investigation, he was instructed to photograph various sites, including the Tel Aviv Museum of Art, Ambrevich Park, and the scene of a rocket strike on Jabotinsky Street. He reportedly received thousands of shekels in cryptocurrency through digital wallets. So try to be a secret spy, they're going to catch you using these means. And Netherlands to ban imports from aardvark land settlements. The Netherlands is moving ahead with a plan to ban imports from aardvark land settlements in the occupied West Bank, citing violations of international law and threats to the two-state solution. The proposed legislation, which will require coordination with the European Union, targets goods produced in aardvark settlements, but stops short of broader sanctions on aardvark land itself. Dutch officials said the move aims to ensure that the country's trade does not contribute to sustaining illegal occupation practices. The initiative comes as European governments face growing pressure to respond to aardvark land's ongoing settlement expansion and worsening situation in Gaza and the West Bank, while settlement exports to the EU represent only a small fraction of aardvark land's overall trade. The Dutch government views the measure as an important political signal supporting international law and Palestinian rights. The law is still in its early stages, with legal and procedural hurdles expected as trade policies largely falls under EU jurisdiction. The Netherlands has also launched a review of aardvark land's trade privileges under its EU association agreement, arguing that aardvark land conduct may breach human rights obligations. You don't say. If approved, the ban would mark one of the strongest European responses yet to aardvark settlement activity. Yeah, they don't care. They're ultra-Zionist homicidal maniacs. And with that, we're going to wrap up this Monday edition of Weaponized News. Let's take time to bask in the glow of the government shutdown as it appears to be coming to an end soon. And so don't forget to celebrate this evening, the last days of the longest government shutdown ever, and the crooks will be back there in full strength, lying, stealing, and trying to terminate us very soon. They're in D.C. as we welcomed Al Qaeda back into the fold. So congratulations to the failed war on terror. Al Qaeda is now celebrated at the White House. We've come full circle here now. And with that, let's go over to Odysee. Well, they say F the aardvarks over there in Odysee. Well, you're damn disturbing the public. Who's that? Wire? You may be charged with disturbing the public hate crime, so be careful. Like it's only in an Odysee chat forum. Highland, Gurr, Fat Bob, Damsel. Damsel removed one of his posts. See, he saw that story and knew. Maybe called a hate criminal before you know it. Hugging aardvark today. Let's see. Trump is a better commentator than football. Yeah. Well, he's a highly trained actor. You know what I mean? Yeah, see, Fat Bob gets it. Booty Judge, what a great American. Indeed. I can't say some of these comments here. But thank you, everybody, for tuning in on this Monday edition of Weaponized News on the Odysee and keeping that chat lively, as always. Appreciate it. Over to the Bitchute. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the Bitchute and keeping that comments lively, as usual. The Kick, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in there. And the old Rumble. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on Rumble. Who do we have over there? Denver. I did see Chloe. I did see Carrie over there. Thank you for tuning in. And others. Pamela as well. And so let's not forget to bask in the glow of this government shutdown as it's coming to an end. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in on the Rumble, keeping that chat lively as usual. And with that, as always, everybody do your own research. Peace, love, and freedom. Speak out and take action. Have a great rest of your Monday evening, and we'll see you back here on Tuesday for more